Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal. You noticed that market was under pressure today and AI stocks also went down. In my opinion, there can be two reasons for that. Number one, non-farm payroll data, which is published this morning, that came higher than the forecast. This means that more jobs were added last month in the manufacturing sector than the forecast. And obviously, this is not a good sign in this kind of environment where we are expecting Fed will start cutting rates anytime soon. So better than the expected job data can put upward pressure on inflation. Number two, CPI data or inflation data is due on Tuesday, March 12th before market open. So at this point, market is trying to adjust itself. In this video, we're going to talk about how market overall and AI stocks can behave, and we'll also talk about how high or how low AI stocks can go before the CPI data on Monday and after the CPI data on Tuesday if CPI data came higher than the forecast or lower than the forecast. Okay, now let's get started. Earlier in this video, I told you guys that non-farm payrolls came higher than expected. So I'm showing you in this table on your screen. This is from investing.com. You see the latest number 275K versus the forecast 198K. The last four cycle, see, the actuals came higher than the forecast. Now let's talk about the CPI data. You see this table on your screen? I made these two tables, one for the CPI actual versus forecast year over year. The second is the core CPI, which does not include the volatile foods and fuel prices. So starting from the regular CPI, you see the actuals in column C and column D, the forecast. See, last two cycle CPI came higher than expected, but that was not a good sign. And you saw that on that day, market dropped after the CPI data. Before that, it was flat and then it was green. So I'm not sure what's going to happen on Tuesday, the CPI data. So my gut feeling is since last CPI data was 3.1% year over year and expected is 3.1% as well. So in my opinion, CPI data may not come higher than the forecast because that means that the actual CPI data would be 3.2 or 3.3. Overall, the trend is down starting August. See 3.7, 3.7, 3.2, 3.1. And December was an outlier, probably 3.4. Then January 3.1. And I'm guessing February should be either 3.1 or 3.0. Okay, let's see. The core CPI data, same story. Last two cycle came higher than the forecast. And before that, that was flat. And then it was lower than the forecast. So take a look in the core CPI. The last two cycle was 3.9. The expectation is 3.7. The core CPI side, looking at the trend 4, 4, 3.9, 3.9. I'm guessing the forecast might be a little low. So probably this may come at 3.9 or 3.8 or maybe 3.7. But it should not come below 3.7 looking at the trend. Okay. Let's see what happens on Tuesday. So I also draw two graphs here. See the overall trend starting last year going down. Okay. See, even starting from mid-July going down. There was some spike after June, but now it's trending down. Same thing with the core CPI. Starting from 2022 July, start going down. And right now is at around 4%. And the regular CPI is around 3%. Remember, the Fed goal is 2% for the overall CPI. That's a regular CPI. So it's trending in that direction. Probably later this year or early next year, we can meet 2%. Now let's take a look. AI stock, that is Nvidia, SMCI, and AMD, and see how high or how low they can go on Monday and Tuesday. Okay. starting with Nvidia, you see this file. This is about Nvidia financials, and I'm showing you these three levels: min, average, and maximum. I showed you in my previous video how did I come up with these three levels. I'll put the link in the description. And also I'm working on revising my new levels for Nvidia. I'm gonna post that video sometime tonight or tomorrow. So at this point, the minimum, average, and maximum levels for Nvidia is this. Right now, Nvidia is trading around 890 or 880, right? At this point. On Monday, I'm guessing market will be under pressure, and also the AI stock, because the CPI data is due on Tuesday before market open. So we might see some little drop on Monday as well. If not, probably it will be doing sideways. Right now, Nvidia is above average, so there's much room for Nvidia to go down at this point. But at the same time, the max level is 1141. So if the CPI data on Tuesday comes lower than the forecast, and that will be a good sign for the overall market, then you'll see Nvidia will go high. And there's much room for Nvidia to go high. Probably it might cross 900, and maybe it'll try to touch 950 or so on Tuesday. If the CPI data comes higher than the forecast, then it won't be a good news for overall market and also the AI stock. So you'll see some drop on Tuesday on AI stock, including Nvidia, SMCI, and AMD. I'm showing you this file. This is about AMD. Same thing about AMD as well. If the CPI data comes lower than the forecast, that'll be good news for AMD, and you'll see the AMD go up. And if the CPI comes higher than the forecast, you'll see the downward pressure on AMD. At this point, AMD is trading about 207, 208. So my max was 208 for AMD. So it's touching my maximum level. So I'm not comfortable trading on AMD at this point because it looks to me, from my calculation, AMD is overvalued at this point. Okay. Now let's talk about SMCI. I'm showing you SMCI, these three levels. And I showed you in my previous video how I made these calculations. If you're interested, you can go back and take a look my SMCI financials video. That will show how I did those calculations. Right now, these three levels for SMCI. At this point, SMCI is trading about 1140 and going close to my maximum point, right? So SMCI also looks to me somewhat overvalued. So I'm not going to invest more on SMCI. So my favorite stock at this point in the AI stocks is Nvidia. So if market drops on Monday or Tuesday, probably I'll buy more Nvidia. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this video. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.